on one. So, obviously, I'm red, orange, and yellow in that picture. You guys should be able to see me. So, everything around me should be somewhat blue or black. So, that's really what we're looking for, but we want it to move on its own. So, again, there's always going to be blue and black in there as long as we keep somebody's skin temperature in there, because obviously we want that big array. We're going to be the warmest thing out here, especially you with that sweater on. I don't know how you're doing it. So, but again, our skin temperature is going to be the warmest thing. We want the contrast. So that's really what we're after with this guy. It is recording right now. We will do start and stops with this, just so, because the software for it is horrible. I don't want to lose any footage for you guys. So we'll do, start and stops as the night goes on, and then I splice it together for you for one video. I'm losing names. Jeremy. This one's going to go to you, sir. You're going to keep it horizontal all night. Try to keep the camera piece on your left all night, even when you start and stop it. I will always give you the cues of when to start and stop, which is the red square you see on your screen now. So even when you restart it again, when I say you stopped it and then I say restart it, just make sure your camera's on the left. Otherwise, it's going to flip the whole video upside down, and we're all going to be angry with you. You're going to get angry texts from everybody. So, no pressure. Spirit box. Let's get into those.
What?
Camera is on the bottom right here. So don't cover it up with your hand.
I always set up the dynamic in my head on the way down here based on how many people in each party. So we have 3, 3, and 1. How do I want to do this tonight? I always try to get spirit box in every one group's hands. Alright, so spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. Do you guys watch the TV shows, by the way? Are you guys familiar with any of this lingo? Yes?
TikTok.
TikTok, same thing, YouTube, all of them. So spirit boxes, this is a way for us to communicate with the dead, because it's going to use the white noise coming through the radio stations. It's going to flip through them at a very fast rate. So with that said, on your TV shows, it's where it's all white noise, and then Zach Bagans tells you what he thinks he wants you to hear in the middle of the screen. We're going to be doing that in real time, only this one is slowed down. I want the radio DJs, the song lyrics, and the commercials to come through. If we can make out what's actually happening with it, then it's a matter of 50-50 shot.
That ain't good.
He just crunched that passenger door in the back.
I've seen that. Are they both trying to turn at the same time?
Yeah. I don't know where he came from.
That's never fun.
You got a double blanket, man. What do we got here? We got anything?
Now it's blanket. So, as the police come, we'll move out of the way when they get here. So, this one records the entire session for us. We're on the slowed down part. I want those song lyrics and DJs to come through, right? So, in the event we can make it out, it's a 50-50 shot. I can tie it to the location that we're at, a person in history, or even something going on with one of us. So, the cool thing is, it's going to record even when it's on mute. It's recording right now, so it doesn't record anything that's going on with them, because there's no background noise. So, it's going to record just the radio suite, which is really, really nice. When I say we need to turn this down, Mike, it's not a big deal, because you'll have the full recording tomorrow. I will give you 15 to 20 markers of things that I find in this guy, whether they're relevant or not. Very interesting.
I wonder if he realizes that back door was hit. I mean, doesn't it look like it, or is that...
No, the door was definitely hit.
Yeah, I don't think he notices it. He looked right up front.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't think he even looked in the back.
Definitely hit it.
Yeah.
He'll know it tomorrow.
We're off to a great start. So,
Well, at least the police didn't come.
hopefully we're not, 8 witnesses later on.
Yeah.
You just put a little ice cube. They're looking at a traffic camera going, there were 8 people right on that corner. The ghost hunting equipment. So, but Mike, you have one button to worry about on this guy. It's a volume button at the very top of this. So obviously you'll feel it. It's a wheel. Don't hit the button. The button will shut it down, and we'll have to reset it.
They use that a lot on the TikTok.
So obviously when I'm talking to the group, you're going to keep it down. We're going to have several speaker boxes out here. All right. Static. Static, static, static. Alright, this next one does the exact same thing, only I need 2 people to listen in on this guy because it doesn't record. So, I'm going to actually hand this over to, I'm guessing, mom and daughter?
Yes.
Okay. I hate to assume anything. That's why I usually
That's
ask.
okay.
You guys also have one button to worry about because it doesn't record. This way the two of you will verify each other, and you're probably going to be working with Dad as well, so that way his video will record what you guys also hear, so we can all hear it later on. So this one, the button on this guy is on the side of the ball speaker, so perfect timing for the car. You can see actually the light, you just hold it up gently and it'll give you some volume, and then obviously you push it down to get the volume down. So I'll let you guys play with that. That way you guys get used to where the button is. The last spirit box we're going to be using,
I don't know if you wanted to feel
this one's a little different. It doesn't make any noise. It does, I just have it turned down. It's an actual phone app, but it's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen. There's over 9,000 words in the vocabulary of this app. The game we're going to play, is it coming from the app or is it coming from a ghost? So 80% of what we're going to see tonight is going to come from the app. It's the other 5 to 20% where I'll show you why it's relevant and then give you a backlink to show you how to verify it to get to that piece of information. It's going to save every single word that pops up tonight, Carol. So we're going to clear this out and start off fresh for you guys. So you don't need to show me every word. When I say, hey, Carol, where are we at with the list? You're going to hit the little white button next to the word right here, and it'll bring up the word list, and then you just hit the circle back up here. Nice and easy.
We could play Name That too.
Do we need to be listening to it?
Because you hear 1 second.
Yep. Alright. I'm going to be a ghost now. You guys be able to measure me here for a bit? See how cool I am? Emily, was it? You're my multitasker. So this is what we call a millimeter. So it has 3 different functions to it. The first thing it's going to do is the big numbers are going to be EMF, electromagnetic fields. Any type of electromagnetic fields are going to make it go off, including cell phones, if it's too close, or wiring and things like that. We'll do a lot of debunking with this device. Anything above 2.5 on your big numbers, I'm excited about. The bottom numbers are your ambient temperature based on the yellow probe up here. So in the event Jeremy finds something on his camera, we'll be able to figure it out if it's an actual cold spot or if it's coming from something man-made. Last but not least is it actually has a REM pod, a motion sensor built into it. So if anything gets close to this antenna, it's going to go off. The closer it gets, the higher it's going to go. So it gets pretty annoying when I'm trying to tell you guys history, so I'm going to shut it off right now. Keep the antenna in. Keep the little flap open so that way I can show you more about that at our first location.
It's not beer. It's not rare. You're looking for white
Yeah, I was gonna come in.
and blue.
Oh, you are?
Red is like
Fancy pants over here. Are you right or lefty?
I'm right.
Perfect. Already set it up. Alright, so quick demo on this guy. You should not be able to see me in the camera. I know it's a small screen. It should be pretty dark. So we're going to turn on some lights. We're working with full spectrum lighting, which is light we can't see with our own eyes, which means it's going to help us find things we can't see with our own eyes. So this is relatively new. I don't have a ton of evidence with this guy yet, so I'm still learning what things need to be found with that. This is also very limited on video because the file sizes are huge. So I will give you the cue for start and stop on yours. We're not going to start off recording like what we did with thermal, but when you do, there's a red button up top here. You just tap it until it starts flashing. I'm going to show you more about your device at the first location as well. And just because we actually have a weird number tonight, I can break out the K2 meter too. So K2, come over to the SB7. So we're going to throw an EMF meter at you guys too. So these are pretty common on TV and TikTok, I'm sure. This one is a little bit more sensitive. Hers is way more accurate. Yours is kind of the first thing that we're going to either debunk with, because look what happens with a cell phone. It's going to go a little nuts. It's going to give us a rhythm or a pulse. We don't want that. We want it to go array all over the place. So it doesn't make any noise or vibrate, but that'll help you guys know when to stop so you guys can actually ask questions. So if it's going haywire, that's when you'll stop and ask questions. All right, now that everybody literally has something, who's carrying a bag? Carol, is it you? Yeah, sure. Throw it on my shoulders. So, quick recap on what you guys are actually going to get back tomorrow morning. So, we could turn down those spirit boxes just for the top of them. You're going to get a full audio from me from the one on my bag. You're going to get the full spirit box audio on this one. about 45 minutes to an hour of video on your full spectrum. No recordings on that. I will have that in other notes, so when you find numbers, I'll write them down. Full word list with backlinks. I'll be writing your words down of things that you guys hear in real time as well. Yours is just kind of an assist, but you will also be getting probably about an hour and 15, an hour and 30 minutes on the full spectrum, or on the thermal imaging video as well. So you have lots and lots of data coming back your way. Let's start with why we started here. Told you guys to meet me next to Big John's. They just opened back up again. And do you come down here often? They just reopened it about 6 weeks ago, so I don't know if you knew that or not. But it used to be called Big John's. So Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. This was his bar. He owned it. So he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, about a mile from here, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink, he has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty mad. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, gets pretty angry, just starts pounding these guys into the floor, beating the hell out of them. Shots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up after being shot, goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in ambulance. So 2 things about that story. First off, nobody died. You're on a post-hunting tour, right? Second is John's the only one that got shot. He's also the only one that got up. So the irony here is that the bullet hole is what haunts the place. It is allegedly still here. So people that sit in the front of the bar, and I say allegedly because I haven't gone in after the renovations to go check. People that sit in the front get a little queasy, nauseous, headaches, light symptoms. I bring that up on purpose because, fingers crossed, we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity, and I don't know how that's going to affect any of you. If you guys feel any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately and get you to a safer place. We'll go together as a group. Literally, that is the scariest thing I will tell you all night long. And yes, I just had a young lady pass out on me last week. So, and I'll tell you more about that when we get to the location, because that makes a lot more sense once we get there. So, let's not talk about our own health, right? So, same building. If you haven't taken any kind of historical Charleston tour, I'm sorry to hear, but we had a big earthquake here in 1886. Every tour in town talks about it. So, what you probably didn't know was this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the east base. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed him. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I said apparently and allegedly because I don't have any proof of that story. It's just a great segue. So Emily's not thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
What about you? Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, we got to get you to talk more. You got spirit box.
I thought it just said something.
No, it keeps doing that, but I think it's picking up like radio signals. You may be better off to hold it with this hand, so you don't knock your camera.
I'm not grabbing it.
Look at all the blinking
Oh,
lights.
mine's blinking.
Flashing lights, blinker
Mine's
lights.
flashing. It was.
Good, I saw it. We went up to orange, right?
Yeah, we went to orange.
So just so you guys know the different measurements that I'm looking at on here. So your EMF function is on the same type of measurement as hers. I'm sorry, Sarah, Emily. Yours, I don't know, I had an Emily on my tour last week. Emily is one of my dog's names. And I should remember that because I love this dog dearly. So again, but you guys are using the same type of units of measure. So yours goes to 25 milligauss. Yours I've seen spike out at 198. So again, on the tour, I've seen the highest at 149. So again,
That would be the top one, or the top number.
the top numbers, yes. So if she's getting 25s, you should be at least around the 14s to 17s. Because again, yours is going to measure things a little bit differently. So your entire time with me, guys, should be thought of as kind of a ghost hunting 101. This is your level 1. This one's going to be super easy. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. Just a matter of me showing you more tactics about your device. But you got the big red barn lot. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them, right? I can't. It's actually a little chilly tonight, so but anyway, the only history here is a quick one-liner. This is where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it, 1860s to 1920s, roughly. So again, I told you this was a history tour, so sorry that you're out of school, but probably, you're in history class. So, spirit boxes. We are using all 3 tonight. So this is not television, this is not TikTok, this is not YouTube. This is not somebody here, because the minute somebody says no, it means somebody's here. okay? They answered you. So we're going to stay away from yes and no questions all night long. There's always a way to reword the questions. So instead of saying, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. So we're obviously going to be listening and looking for the color red because you're going to be looking, right? You're not listening to anything. So let's say the two noisy spirit boxes, which Lily, Michael, they're using DJs and song lyrics to convey messages back to us, right? So let's say the word red is not in there, but fire truck, blood, heart. Those three things are specifically red. What color is the big red barn? Heart.
Red.
I would actually take that as an acceptable answer because a heart is specifically red. They're going to take whatever they can to grab and throw it back at us. We're also still close to Big John's Tavern. Let's say Carol sees the word art on her spirit box and Michael hears the number 40. I usually require 2 clues to verify information. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Does that make sense now? A lot of the stories I'm going to tell you tonight have multiple people with the same name. Charleston's, Eliza's, George's. Just think of the 17 and 1800s. A lot of the same common names, right? So I usually require 2 types of clues to verify what's actually happening around us. So, spirit boxes, that's how we're going to go through tonight. I'm going to give you prompted questions at each stop. You can use them, you can not use them. I'm just giving you questions that I've gotten answers to in the past. So, and things that I can prove Johnny on the spot for you. If it's something that's kind of a stretch, I'm going to tell you it's a stretch. If it's something like I don't know, I'm not going to make stuff up for you. I'm probably the most honest paranormal investigator in the world because I'm not here to make stuff up. So again, that's how we're going to use spirit boxes. Cameras, I do want you to kind of stick with me, but spirit boxes, you guys can kind of spread around, and you need to stick with me as well so I can show you more about that. But the 2 cameras, if you want to come over this way, within the confines of the lot, we're going to stay away from vehicles. So literally, be listening for your spirit box, Lily, and that way you guys can actually see what kind of answers you can get out of it. If you have questions you want to ask, just ask them. Just act like there's a person right in front of you. I know it's weird and awkward because you can't see them, but you never know what you're actually going to get out of it. All right, cameras. We're going to start with thermal imaging. Go ahead and point your camera at the wall for me. So notice how it bleeds out. My hand's going to come into view, and the wall should turn blue. So that's why you want to keep that skin tone in view. It doesn't matter how far away somebody is. You want to try to keep somebody's skin temperature in there at all times because it gives you that nice variation. It's much easier to catch something if it's moving and not supposed to be. At the next stop, I will show you some evidence that I caught with that camera about a year ago. It's probably my most prominent piece from that camera. But that gives you a better gist, and I like to give you, like, hey, it happened right here, so that way you can, oh, it actually did happen right here. That way you have a better gist of what you're looking for. But in here, just kind of play around with it for a minute or two while I wrap up the rest of these. You're looking at, like, the asphalt, the metal, foliage, wood. Just see how the different temperatures change. Did you also notice the blue dot moving around?
Yes.
Okay, so that's giving you the coldest spot in the frame at that moment.
I got you.
When you have the sky in view, it's automatically going to go to sky because there's nothing to measure. It's not measuring ambient temperature, it's measuring surface temperature. I did leave the crosshairs on there for you as well, so if you have to move the camera to measure something specifically, you can. So the center crosshairs will not move, but the blue dot will.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yep, see how it goes straight up into the sky? Yep.
Okay.
So you do have that kind of that bar on the side too, that's kind of a cheat sheet. That will not be in the recorded video, but that does give you the highest and lowest temperature in the screen at that particular time.
Okay.
So that should help you out a lot too. So, again, get used to some of the materials, and I'll be following up with everybody here in a minute. All right, your camera. Your camera has 2 different lights on. One up here, I can think of this long range. I'm not going to touch anything up here. I will tell you, like, the toggle switch is already set up. So the top one is for this spectrum lighting, and the bottom one gives us night vision. We don't want that one. Like, the scrub light is on the floor, it's plugging in guys. This one is your short range. This one is focused.
think so. Jeremy, what's that right there? Look, quit moving.
How are them people walking by?
Oh, baby, right where you're pointing. Look.
That,
It's that air conditioner.
no, it's down at the bottom. Over there.
It's the gas meter. See? The gas meter.
I think it moves kind of slow.
Y'all hear some ghosts?
Or try and ask a question. Do you have a question? Don't ask the thing, ask the ghost.
Where they at?
Just you.
You have the machine. You're supposed to be recording. Oh, record around now.
Walk over here.
Hard to understand that.
It is difficult. That is the hardest job out there. I'm just going to put it out there. But you've already, has that gone anything past the orange?
Yes, I've gotten a couple of reds,
right over
especially
here.
right in here.
And grading in the dark has become a great new shorthand trick I have.
Oh, look at that. That's the highest it's ever gotten. It's never.
You heard anything I did?
Well, I've heard the song, different songs. But I'm listening to the status.
No. You want the song lyrics and DJs to see everything available.
I've heard Union.
Okay.
With Union. And
So I keep hearing Michael Jackson.
And then I heard Michael Jackson.
That's we keep
That's what we
hearing
keep
Michael
hearing,
Jackson.
too.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting the same channel.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're both sweeping the same
Yeah.
stations.
And then there was the country song that had like 5 words and sang a whole phrase. Country singer.
Okay. So that's stuff I can look for in the morning. Yeah. But if you guys remember things as we kind of move along, but yeah, you are listening to song lyrics or DJs, commercials. Excuse me, you can listen into white noise. And finding those disembodied voices is really difficult in real time. And I'll be honest, when I do stumble upon them, it's like I have to go through a lot of software to verify it, and I usually get 4 solid ones a year. Like that's it. So like your TV shows that are giving you 5 to 8 of them, I'm like yeah.
Well,
Like,
and I have to listen to them. Like they repeat it over and over.
right.
And really use my imagination to
Right.
understand what
So
they're
I
saying.
only give them, like, if it's a Class A, meaning it's clear as a bell, I still clean it up, take out some of the static. Like, I have enough software to be able to do that. So, again, I still clean it up, and I don't put anything out there that I'm not 100% sure of, because I'm not going to I'll put muffled if I'm unsure. You know, let you guys decide. So, it is what it is at that point.
So after this, you're going to go home and listen to this?
Yeah, I'm going to go home and get it all ready to be uploaded to the website and listen to it all with my first cup of coffee.
And there's somebody. What are you going to
Oh, yeah.
That big window. Yeah, there's 2 windows.
That's just the office for the big red sign.
Oh,
But there's not the TV.
oh,
We're not in there. I'm going home this Sunday. Trust me, we're not.
okay. The TV is on.
You guys ready to learn some real history? All right, let's go this way.
Oh, I said look at the blood, and I just heard blood and blood.
Ah.
Take it. You know what I mean? Take it.
Oh, I'm getting really hot right here.
I'm not surprised.
That's right there in that area. Now it's starting to go back again. Right in that area.
Usually when I start talking is when it'll start going all over. You actually look like it's more of a rhythm right now. It's weird.
They went up to 7 on the walk.
Well, in between places, like when I'll usually debunk things, those probably from the parking meters. So I kind of wait until, like
We're
I've
at the
tested
place,
all of these
got it.
grounds, yeah. So parking meter, electrical lines, we're gonna need the sidewalks. So in between certain places, they'll say ignore your readings. All right, so welcome to another beautiful side of Charleston, a parking lot. If you guys don't know where to park by the time I'm done with you, you guys got issues I just can't fix. So this place used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinkney mansion site. So the house actually stood in the front, facing the East Bay. See how I mean? Like other tourists don't come here because there's nothing to see. So, well, the gate isn't even original to the mansion. That was for the restaurant that was here in the early 2000s. It's called Molly Darcy's. And the gate was actually a little bit further to our left because the carriage house would have been on the right. So again, the center of the home was a little bit further down. So the rest of the layout of this is that Eliza's garden was lined up with that tree over there and came all the way across to where like that cement slab is. And then the slave and servant quarters would have been in the back of the lot, actually overlapping a little bit into the next lot over there. So again, very interesting place. I think that was from your movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give any questions here, by the way, like what color is George Washington's white horse? Like we're going to get interest in the care about. So Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. There's 3 Charleses right there, father, son, and nephew. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Great thing for us South Carolinians, but you guys are all on vacation and don't care about South Carolina politics, and neither do I. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. So Eliza got married to Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what that number is, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So pretty big age gap between the two of them. She married him out of love, not out of any kind of, arranged marriage. It is the 1740s. But she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so instead she got married. Dad didn't die right away, so Eliza was right. Then Dad starts sending over gifts from England. One of those gifts happens to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye, that makes our blue jeans blue. Michael's wearing it right now. That's how we still use it. Way to demonstrate, Mike. I love the Vanna White. Good job. Last night it was my wife who was doing the Vanna White because she wears jeans. But anyway, so the interesting thing about it is because it all started right here. She had to experiment with it first. She was a botanist. She had to learn from her Gullah slaves how to keep this stuff cultivated in our cold temperatures. It doesn't stay warm down here. It's obviously pretty cool tonight, but come January, it's going to be cold. Like, I'm talking like 32-degree cold. So again, once she figured it out and got it going, she moved it to another plantation home they had in the family in Mount Pleasant. So then she calls her dad up, not literally because it's the 1740s, and says, I need somewhere to sell this stuff because our rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing. He starts sending her international contacts. Now we have an international businesswoman in colonial times. It's absolutely unheard of for those time periods. So, I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg of what she's done for this country, but let's get into the weird facts so you guys have questions to get you started. So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Ironically, both of their maiden names start with the letter L. So we need to know who the heck we're talking to when you direct Eliza. Now we have 3 Charleses and 2 Elizas. There's a whole nother trio in here, but we'll get into that later. So, you can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. Eliza, how old were you when you died? What year did you die? Where did you die? What did you die from? What president was a pallbearer at your funeral? If that doesn't tell you how important she was, I don't know what will. By the way, just keep in mind, that's the only entrance and exit for vehicles. So as we're kind of exploring this lot, just be mindful of vehicles coming in. As far as for children go, I already told you there was at least one. His name was Charles, correct? So I'm not going to tell you how many, but that's a question you can ask. How many kids did she have, and maybe get the names. There's a tragedy among those children that she normally will shut off all activity, including any kind of readings that we're getting from any device. It just shuts down. So just kind of tread lightly when it comes to the children. Again, how many, and get some names, leave it alone. If somebody's going to pop through and tell us more about that tragedy, I'll know based off of what you guys are all telling me of what you're hearing and seeing. There's a little blip. That was, again, not from you. So it was kind of like, all right, we get it. Let's see. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore, right? And then you can ask when that tragedy happened. Yes, there's a clue. It was a tragedy, so take your pick. Or in South Carolina, so you can only imagine what it was. I think that about covers the gist of getting you guys started. If you go rogue with questions, just let me know what they are. Just keep in mind, A, I can't prove anything about slaves, right? Because there's no record of these poor folks. And second, I can't prove feelings. So, were you in a happy marriage? That's a yes or no question, first off, but she's not going to give you the word happy or sad. You know, so just kind of go after those dates, names, facts, things that we can actually prove, because that's why you guys are here. That dude's going to take out a tree. You guys see that? We're seeing all kinds of events tonight, and you're not even filming yet. So this is definitely where we can get a little bit louder with our spirit boxes, so you don't have to be shy in here. But yeah, we're going to definitely start recording on your video, and Jeremy, definitely keep yours going in here for sure. Just keep in mind, people don't like their cars being filmed in any way, shape, or form, so just kind of walk the opposite way if somebody's going to their vehicle. But Michael, you should pretty much be trying to follow Emily or Lily, because they're going to know where the hot spots are. Actually, you all should be trying to follow these 2 young ladies, because they're going to know exactly where those hot spots are. So, and Emily, if you're ever unsure if it's going off, like the motion part of it, based on your motion, set it down and test it. It's perfectly fine. Just don't leave it in this live. Because your ticket price is going to go a lot higher than what it is now. So
we're looking for Eliza with an
Oh,
L.
it was
yes,
just that
Eliza.
Eliza.
Yeah, Eliza L. Pinkney is what both Elizas went by. So their maiden names start with the letter L. Very interesting facts. So this is a moment where I actually take a minute and check you guys in on all the apps that you guys bought your tickets from to give you guys a head start. Start spreading out, stay within the confines of the lot. We will spend a good 10 to 15 minutes here. We're already getting some kind of activity, but it's still kind of a steady pace. I've been watching it, so it's kind of like staying in that little yellow, and all of a sudden you get 2 blips to red. We might still be a little bit too close over here to the parking meters, so you might want to venture a little bit just to kind of see what happens elsewhere. But I will take note that you are up to 20 to 25 on the house insurance already. And what was your number, Emily? Name tag? 7. What is your name?
Eliza, what is your maiden name? My problem is I have a hard time understanding what they're even saying. Eliza, how many children did you have? Eliza, how many children did you have? Eliza, how many children did you have? 2 out of 3?
I thought I heard that.
I'm going to say, because I thought I had heard 3 before. What happened to the mansion that was here? It is pouring? What happened to the mansion that was here? I'm going to get 3 children.
No.
Because I heard said 2 out of 3.
Well, so it just depends. I noticed when I mentioned the tragedy of
Eliza L. What was your daughter's name? Oh my God! It's like you scare people that like you. I don't think so.
Eliza, did Charles do something to you?
What are we doing over here now? Still getting 20 to 25s?
Yes.
We were pretty much on red until he
Pretty much
came.
solid, yeah.
They don't
She
like
doesn't
you,
like
man.
him.
That's
Yeah.
what they
That's what we
said.
told him.
Alright, I was going to show you evidence from that camera anyway. You have a better gist of what you're looking for.
We use these at work. I'm an electrician. For
I usually have a knack for picking out the perfect guy for this.
but shooting in switch gears and stuff.
Nice.
Picking up heat and whatever.
So I usually hand cameras, the 2 that I do have, over to guys because you guys love. I mean, we all love tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that gives you something fun to watch. And to be honest with you, when normally it's mom, girlfriend, wife that books the tour, it's usually they're dragging the husband along. So I figure I better give the guys at least something to play with.
Something.
So I know my audience pretty well. Let me show you some evidence. And this has actually been verified because I mean firemen use that same tool.
Yeah.
So I've had it verified by firemen. I don't know how many times. It actually occurred right up there in that corner, just so you know what you're looking at. 2 orange heads are going to go past the wall here in a second. They're alive, right? I did that for reference. I left it in there, and then we're going to fast forward. There's going to be 2 dead heads going the opposite way past the wall.
Yep.
And this guy was always in view. So if you caught that either, but that,
Yeah.
so he was always there the whole time. He'll show up right here and stay in view, so his skin tone is there.
There they go.
And it's not a car. We've tested it. I mean, this was a year ago. I've tested it 1,000 ways from Sunday, trying to recreate it, and I can't. And the funny thing is I didn't catch that in real time. That my group called me up there because one girl claimed she was seeing shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up there to go debunk it. Maybe she saw some car flashes off the lamppost or whatever. And I was like, guys, I'm not seeing anything. And so, again, I watched the video in the morning and see what kind of comes up. I didn't even have the full spectrum camera yet. So I watched the video from that whole thing. I normally spot check it. Like for every 5 minutes, I watch a minute. Same thing with the audio. That way I'm not spending all 8 hours, doing that. So when I caught it, I'm like, you got shit. So, like, she literally, legitimately saw something out of the corner of her eye. But I do love that thing, and I just upgraded it from it wasn't the Pro, it was just the FLIR 1.
Yeah.
And then the software started acting up, so I bought the next upgrade on the camera, thinking it was this hardware, because it's been dropped I don't know how many times. No. The software does the same exact thing. It will not record the full 2-hour tour.
Really?
So after here, I'll say, let's go ahead and give your hand a break and go ahead and stop it until we get to our next stop. But yeah, this way I can splice it on the way home, because the software I have in the phone will splice it for me.
Yeah.
And that way when I get home, all I have to do is upload it to YouTube and watch it. Same thing goes with the full spectrum. I take that one home, plug it in my laptop, so that I have 3 computers on my desk, because everything's running something.
Right.
So that way when I'm going through all your data, it's literally upload, name file, wait 10 minutes, go get another cup of coffee, come back up, I can start watching and listening. And then by noon, I'm usually done for you guys. I got it down to a science. Because again, me doing everything for you, that's no fun. It's not what you guys paid for. Getting all kinds of things on his.
Like straight red on this, but every single time we ask her questions about her kids, she said, but she won't even answer like their age or their name.
Okay. Michael's going after what happened to the man. He's getting direct answers. Okay. Like, very direct, like what even started this whole fiasco, which is very interesting. So maybe try to go tag along with that. Keep in mind too, like, because you're asking questions over here, there are 5 points of audio. My audio, Jeremy's audio, 3 spare boxes. If you ask a question, you can go anywhere. A lot of times I'll use a spare box, separate, put them that way, put them there, realize it, and everything. I've heard it 3 times around and said, like, you're not free.
Color was your mansion.
I thought we heard 15, but we can't hear.
What color was your mansion? Eliza, what color was your mansion? German folk music. Was she German descent? Eliza, how many children did you have? You said 8?
Sounded like it.
Eliza, what destroyed your mansion?
Eliza, what happened to the mansion? Was the mansion in a fire?
I'm the only one in America that goes to this place, just so you guys know.
Who burnt down the mansion?
Oh, yeah? Which gym? Yeah, well, like, they gave us a TRICIA meter, or, you know, something on. Yeah, that's not good. We're going to get some gear. So, and we're actually going to be expanding a lot of what this thing is. So, like, the black spare boxes she has, we're upgrading it to the next one.
A lot of questions to answer. Is there anybody else here? Is there anybody else here other than Eliza that's answering questions tonight? If so, what is your name?
Eliza, how successful was your typical business?
Spanish.
texting time.
Crazy technology a lot. So you have to see the video tomorrow. See, he hasn't said it with me all night, so we're all this camera.
So a lot of I probably don't see anything, but
You might. Yeah. And that's why I like to give you the data back. Yeah. Anything crazy on your end? You haven't shouted or thrown the phone, so I'm guessing not.
Yeah, it's we're supposed to like piece together the words. She just told us closing time.
Closing time?
Well, that was over there, and then just now it's like ghost time. Yeah.
Oh.
but
Not any further.
Yeah, it looks like it seemed to be slowing down. So let's get you guys some answers. Let's all head over this way. You can stop your video. Same with you, Jeremy. But anyway, they land in the Georgetown area just north of here. So Dad buys a plantation, and Mom dies shortly after they land. So he starts sending the daughter down to Charleston to start selling whatever crops they have and their wares and whatever. It was more than likely a rice plantation just based on the geographic because it was near water. You need a water to make rice. So as she's coming down here, we're going to fast forward. Well, actually, let me backwards up. When they're back in Ireland, this the young lady's mentality, just so you know how hardcore of a young lady she is, they say she killed one of her servants when she was a child with a knife to the belly. So just putting it out there of what kind of girl she was. So fast forward, building's finished. It's familiar, which is why we're here. 1715, 2 years after that, pirates are starting to come through town. Anne is about 16, 17 years old at this time. She's pretty excited because pirates are coming through town. She falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bond, pirate of the Golden Age. However, James Bonney is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. She wanted that kind of hardcore badass too. This was not him. He was a privateer, which makes basically he's a spy for the British. He's reporting back to the British wherever the pirate ships are. He's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she wanted. So a few years go by, she falls in love again. We're on guy number 2. I'll keep tally. So this guy, his name is John Rackham. Yes. But James, yeah. So there's a lot of J's in this one, in case I always have to get it straight. So John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. We're just going to refer to him as Jack through the rest of the story. They call him Calico Jack, like the Calico Cat, because he's a very dapper young man, because this is the Captain Jack Sparrow type mentality that she wanted, and she falls in love. Jack tries to buy the dowry from Bonnie, and he says, no, I'm still married to her, do what you will. So Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. The girls curse pirate ships. You cannot have a female on the crew. Jack makes a deal with her. If you can dress like the guys and hide your gender, I'll let you be part of the crew. She's okay with the cross-dressing because Dad used to hide her as a boy back in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So again, she doesn't care. She just wants to be a pirate. She gets on board. She's allowed to be a female in his quarters because, of course, he's the captain. That's how that went. Eventually, she gets pregnant. So you cannot have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. Come back later. She goes and has the baby. Comes back. We have no idea what happened. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack mad. You all know her mentality. She's going to make him even more mad. Jack just captured another pirate. She's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. So she's flirting with this guy. He reveals his gender to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing. She convinces this young lady, whose name is Mary Reed, who's an English pirate, not Irish, to become part of the crew. The British find out where they are, and they send their entire fleets to come take down one pirate ship. All the men, literal men, are down below deck, too drunk to come up and fight. So it's Anne and Mary with their 1-bullet muskets trying to fight back. Well, obviously the ship's going to get taken by the British. So as Calico Jack was being arrested, Anne's last words were to him was he should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. So the word dog will show up here. I've even seen puppy. It's still relevant. I'll take it. So the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. If you hear see my name in here, it's not me, it's the judge. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back by themselves. So he tries and hangs Jack and all his men. They're already dead and gone. November 28, 1720. Anne and Mary go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care. They're still pirates. So he's still going to hang them. The last thing they said was, we plead our values, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he says, fine, we'll delay your hanging until after the pregnancy. Off to jail you go. Dad is still here with his Irish money. He bails Anne out, brings her back home. She remarries again. Yes, guy number 4, we're counting Mary Reed, and has 4 children, dies at the age of 84. That's all we know. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. It's probably scurvious and bumpy and gross and oozy and whatever else gross thing your imagination wants to come up with. So, at this location, ask whatever you want to. The 2 things I can prove that I did not give you are the name of Calico Jack's ship and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. I do that on purpose just to get you guys something to go off of. Anything else you want to ask about with the love affair with Mary, feel free. Again, I don't have those answers. Again, the LGBTQ company, they actually latch onto this story because, like, look, people have been doing this for 300 years, kind of mentality. I'm like, yeah. So I told you guys last week I had a person pass out on me. this was the location. I had 2 transgender males on my tour. As I'm telling the story, barely getting into it, one of them gets white as a ghost. I have to get him over to the wall to go sit down, get him a bottle of water before he can even stand up. Take it for what it's worth. I just told you a story about 2 females cross-dressing to be pirates. And I had 2 females here dressed like men. Same principle. So they pulled me aside, and of course I don't ask gender stuff anymore, you know what I mean? It's kind of a private thing. They said, we should let you know after hearing the story why this probably happened. So it was just an interesting bit. And yes, I'll probably tell this part that I had 2 transgender males all the time now, because again, that's pretty big evidence. All right, let's get your camera battery. We are going to spread out. As far as going to the front, so people with cameras, you definitely can go to the front to get some footage on the front end if you want. Just stay out of the way of other tourists. They already don't like me. Not to mention, they'll probably tell you all the stuff you're doing is fake when they have no idea what they're even talking about. But again, this is not the Pinkney Mansion site, so your meters probably will not go crazy like it did throughout the rest of the night. If you do get something, it is exciting in this location. So this is a great hit or a great miss. You never know what's going to happen. But we're also still close to Calhoun's sarcophagus on the other side of that wall. So if we get to number 7, because he was the 7th vice president, or his name, I won't be surprised. All right, let's get a battery check. Everybody else, let's spread out. Long crowd. This one, when it's empty, it's not bad.
special about this phone?
So she remarried, right? Her fourth marriage.
She had 3 kids.
She did 3 or 4 kids. She had one child. We don't even know what happened. What happened here?
Did you kill your other baby?
first name I've heard is Jack.
So I've actually had the term calico and jack show up here in the same night several times. So we'll see. The word calico is actually in the vocabulary on the spirit box word list. So you've heard jack. So if we get calico along with that, but that no heartbeat, I'm going to tie it to.
Yeah, and we were kind of over that way when we heard it.
Now, something just happened with Carol's device. The word roses came up. The house that the doctor stayed at, the 59 Church Street, is called the Thomas Rose House. It's the only house in Charleston that actually has a ghost story on its plaque. So if you look at like, oh, this is the William, Aiken Red House kind of thing, and it just tells you the story of what he did. The Thomas Rose House tells the story of the Whistling Doctor.
Really?
So we're waiting for the name Thomas to show up somewhere too. Not to put something in your head,
No.
but that would solidify it. Or the number 59, because I've had that before.
I've heard a lot of numbers, but I don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is without you remembering them, because she does have a January, so something else could come up as a date for somebody else. A lot of these birth dates of these pirates, they're missing. We only know their death dates because they obviously got caught by the law. So, again, we have general vicinity of their ages, but a lot of the birth dates are wrong. They're all over the map.
I wish I could remember the numbers. But I think
It's okay.
at this point. So, yeah. But I've heard several different groups of numbers.
Yeah, and you're going to hear phone numbers. An interesting thing about that is sometimes I have to piecemeal it to kind of see, like, is there a connection? So one night, we're at Pinkney Mansion site a few months ago. It says this, I just heard, like, appointment at 2:30. And somebody heard the number 5 earlier. Well, to say the number 235, you have to say 2:30. So we had 2:30 and 5, which is the address of where we were at the Pinkney Mansion site.
Oh, yeah.
So again, you got to put those clues together to see how it all fits in the jumble.
Well, I asked for a name and I got VA. I don't know what that is.
There was a Charles Vane. He was a major pirate that was always interfering with the other captains. He was kind of an asshole, quite blunt. But that was kind of his MO, was he was just a jerk.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if you get a Charles here.
Yeah.
His name is Charles Vane, V-A-N-E.
Okay.
So, but I'll leave you to it because there's lots of white noise, right? Anything weird on your end? That camera has actually made other devices go weird in this lot. So I've seen it a couple of times where it'll make the red spirit box, the one that Emily had.
Go nuts.
Yeah, or it'll die, like completely shut down. A white film will come over the person holding it, shut down, we walk away, the white film goes away, and the spirit box will start working again. I've seen it twice now. It's almost like somebody's like, nope, I don't want you to hear this part. And you can see it right on there. It's the weirdest thing. Again, this is a weird spot. It's either a total chaotic, lots of stuff.
I went out there and kind of looked around.
And was there another tour up there?
No, they were gone. I waited
You
till
can
they
still put
left.
your camera in the middle of it.
Yeah, I did.
The interesting thing is they used to do this type of investigation just here for Ann Bonny years ago, and apparently it failed. They didn't have the higher tech that we have now. I could probably go in and do it and charge $100 a ticket if I wanted to. We're actually looking for a venue to do a one night a week full-on investigation where we'll charge $100 to $150, for 3 hours in one location. So half an hour of history, then we'll do like a round robin of all the different devices so everybody gets to try them. So it's not like you get this one, you get this one. It's like you get to try all of them.
Everything.
Yeah, so after what I just did in St. Augustine and watching how another podcast hosted their investigation, I guess based on what I do here was a lot different. Like I could have done this way different. Even if they called me in because of my equipment, they wanted me to like take charge. I'm like, this is your thing. You know what I mean? You just brought me here for my gear.
Yeah.
So, but my wife and I just got to talking, and I'm like, how cool would it be if I got into Dock Street Theater or Poogan's Porch, or, I contacted the guy that got me into this industry, because I had a real job once. I called him this morning. I'm like, dude, give me some locations of people you know. Here's the idea. Here's what I'm going after. He's like, I think your ticket price is too high. I'm like, dude, think high-end restaurants. These people are going to get dinner and a ghost hunt for $150 to $200.
Yeah.
I was like, go drop it. If they're going to use SLS cameras and thermals and laser beams and all kinds of shit, yeah, they'll be on it. I mean, hell, when we get our hotel, we're going to be charging $500 a night.
Exactly.
I mean, everybody's going to have a kit, an hour with me to learn how to use it. They get all the data back the next day, and I'll be downstairs running the shop and then touring at night. We already have a hotel manager lined up. She's ready to walk away from her job. So we just got to find a spot.
I got you.
And it's a lot going on. It's a lot.
Well, I hope it all works out.
Well, this year was really going to be our true testament because obviously coming out of the pandemic, I was hit pretty hard. You know, with tours, like the minute they said open, I opened everything up for the booking agent, and you couldn't get near the store for weeks. Like I was jammed full every single night, and it was like masks, and I was having trouble with it, and it was craziness. And then this year, it's been kind of all over the place. I had one slow month, and the rest I've been busy. I'm almost sold out every single week. I'm at like 80% capacity.
People are tired of sitting around not doing anything.
Well, not to mention the jail tour is on. It's done. Like they're not doing it anymore. So they want that interesting experience and not just a ghost tour. So they come here, they get the history, and they get to play with toys. Just get you guys more involved.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know we didn't go far and hit a lot of spots, but the fact that we have as much evidence as we do tonight, like this is it's a higher than average night. I'll put it out there. So I'll go over that once I get everybody else's gist of what they got going on. Michael's loving this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm watching him like run with my gadgets. So much he's loving it. Yes, what was broken would have been her heart, I'm sure.
No, we were going after the fork thing here. It's just been a long. No heart yet.
They had the letter N.
Broken.
That's what I was asking for.
Well, it doesn't say heart. It's just a fork.
You seeing anything?
What'd y'all find?
Nothing. We heard some phrases.
Yeah, we
Like
heard.
Jack or Jackie.
We got Jack or Jackie, which I think he said was like one of the pirates' names or something like that. And then no heartbeat, which. Gotten a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
Yes. A couple of these.
Well, and so you told me I was at reading. They what? I was in the basement. That I thought was amazing. I don't know now with the computer too.
So at Philadelphia now, the reason they got kicked out of there is because at the end, right outside the engine, those bricks are a lot of so they're actually sun dried as they children, and there's finger pipes and
Yeah, the other Anglican church over here has the cemetery right next to it as well. Yeah. This one, I guess they're probably running out of room, so they got both sides of the street.
Tigers or pirates? Are you getting anything? Nope. Me either. Who knows? Maybe it'll show up later.
Yeah.
without you.
Go out there in front of the camera.
Lily, you want to come out here with me? Is he calling us?
Did you guys want to go up front to see it?
I was. That's okay. We can do it in a minute.
It's commercial. She would have been died in 81. Would not be 98.
You tell me that 98. Yeah.
She was 84 when she died. So, doing the math right. Alright, so we had lots going on with this. Obviously, you guys are doing lots of stuff with babies, right? So that's a pretty big deal. We're finally getting some motion activity that's like more than just a right off that green. So we definitely have to mark those down. We had the letter M show up on the digital word list that is relevant to me and Bonnie's mother's name, which was another Mary. So we had Mary Reed, the friend, fellow pirates, and we had Mary Brennan, her mother. Her father's name was William Cormack. The name of the Untitled Jack ship, the Kingston. Am I expecting Kingston to show up on a spirit box? I am not. But if you guys get King, I am pretty excited, which it has come up on rare occasions. We have gotten. So we do have a King Street. So So again, radio stations will say so on King Street. I'll take the word King. We're going to work with that. Obviously, no kind of ratings out of yours. I lost track. You guys were giving me so much stuff. A lot of it dealt with babies, and I think a lot of it's going to be, we had no heartbeat, which I'm tying to the Sue Howard Hardy story. Alexander came up with the name Jack. It's embarrassing. Baby, I love you, baby. And then we made the switch. We also heard. So again, very relevant terms. And I did tell Michael that a few weeks ago, I caught on the Red Spirit box that he's using the next morning, it said, it was two female DJs that said, they think we're guys while standing here. And they were joking around about it. So it was very relevant.
We heard girls.
Again, just, you can see how all of this can tie together. I mean, I know we didn't get the very specific answers, like the ship and the names and stuff like that, but we have January. So I'm going to see where that ties into play too. I'm sure it's something. Again, this whole, we had Joseph just came up. We're next to the doctor. So take that for what it is. There's a lot of stories on this corner. I usually use the words to kind of dictate the stories I tell because I didn't even go into Bocce's. I didn't go into the Nettie Dickerson story. I didn't tell you about the Nicholas Trot house. I do all of that based off of whatever words come up so I know which stories are going to lead us into things. So again, there's a lot of stories to tell on this one little street corner. And again, I go to my regular basics, which are always the dueling story. So curriculum. So curriculum showed up here last night, and I'll just give this to you briefly before I start collecting this. You got education as well?
Yeah, whenever I remember, I thought
So there's our tie-in. Remember I told you last night I had the word, I heard, I'll teach you or something like that. Well, my mind automatically went to pirates. Blackbeard's real name was Edward Teach. So that's what I tied it in for them, and that's the backlink they got. But the word curriculum show up, and you got education. Another story is at Coogan's Porch. So if you look up haunted locations at Charleston, it's usually like number 1 or 2. Coogan's Porch is where Zoe St. Amand and her sister Elizabeth lived. Zoe was a school teacher. The rumor is that she either died in her house by falling down the stairs, or she died in a nursing home, depending on which tour guide you have, or what article you're reading. I do, when I was going around that corner, I would get things from Zoe all the time, including the correct spelling of her name, which is Z-O-E, not Z-O-E-Y, like her current spelling. But I would get things like teacher, pencil, Elizabeth's sister. You know, I would get those kind of terms when I was even talking about the Wagner building on East Bay Street. When I used to take people down Philly, I would end at the Wagner building on Queen instead of coming up here to Newton. So again, lots of relation, but curriculum and education, like, can't really deny that. So I'll definitely put a link to the Zoe story on there. And they have good food, eat really lunch. I don't eat out often, but when I go to see a play with my daughter, I get through the course on the way out. It was relatively close. I'm going to start collecting devices. You guys can ask me a million questions.